Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen, man, we back. It is Monday, and we are back around the water cooler, man. We about to get into it. We start a new series today, man. We're gonna talk about it right after this. Eugene Asante, bring us
Boys
in,
and
my
girls
guy.
of all
Let's go.
ages, you're tuned into the Water Cooler Talk podcast, the biggest podcast in the world. Yeah.
You are now tuned in to Water Cooler Talks, covering everything you love about college football, especially everything going down in the SEC Conference. So, if you love college football, you need to lock in. And now, your hosts, Nick Frazier and Marcus Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, boy. The Pop Smile. Ladies and gentlemen, man, we appreciate y'all so much for rocking with us here around the water cooler, man. My name is Nick Frazier. And the other person you hear him and you see him, tell him who you are, boss, man.
Marcus Fitzpatrick. Let's go. Let's get it.
Yes, sir, man. We appreciate y'all so much for rocking with us here around the water cooler tonight, man, as we get ready to talk some Auburn football schedule. That's what we're going to talk about tonight, man. So we appreciate y'all so much for rocking with us here, man. Make sure that you follow us on Facebook at the Water Cooler Talk Podcast, man. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the Water Cooler Talk. On Twitter, if you have a Twitter, follow us on Twitter at CoolestPod23 on Twitter. And, of course, subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell button here on YouTube so you know when we post more videos and when we go live here on YouTube, man. Marcus, how you feeling today, man?
Can't complain, man. Can't complain. How you?
Doing great, man. Doing great. You know, keeping my head above the water cooler, man. You know what? You know my saying, keeping it above the water, man. So all is good in the hood, man. I hope all is well with everybody here, man. Take a look at the comments and see. Auburn Dad said, War Eagle, let's go. Shout out to Auburn Dad, man. Auburn Dad comes in, he said, it's the most crucial game of the year. Why, you ask? Because it's the first game. It sets the tone for the rest of the year. And it shows Auburn is for real and will compete with anyone. What's your thoughts on that, Marcus?
Can't disagree with that. It also will show improvement. Will help us engage if we improved in the places that we need to see improvement in.
That's true. That's true, man.
If not, it's gonna be tough to be encouraged for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I get into it a little bit later on, but I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I feel pumped up right now, man. It is May. We are literally like 1, 2, 3 months away from college football, ladies and gentlemen, man. We're not that far away. We're not that far away, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited.
Friday.
Yes, bro. Shout out to JT. JT saying War Eagle, man. What's up, JT? And JT with the it's time for JT's quote of the day. JT's quote today says, let's break it down. That's from Kid President. Y'all don't know who Kid President, man. Go on YouTube and type in Kid President. Funny little guy, man. Shout out to him, man. Shout out to Kid President, man. I wonder what he doing now. C Hall in this thing, man. What's up, C Hall? Said if we win this game, decidedly it's on. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you on that one, man. Auburn Dad said, what's up, Nick and Marcus? What's up, Auburn Dad? Saying what's up with and JT. Travell, the king of the comments in here, saying Marcus uses baby wipes on his face. Wow, bro. Wow. You gonna let him put you out like that, man? You gonna let him put you out like that?
That's cap. But if I did, that's because I'm so smooth with it.
The legend of Sweet Sugar Bow Williams, the Huggy Beard, is rocking with us tonight. What's going on, man? He said, what's happening, fellas? Not much, Huggy. Hope you're doing all right, man. Everybody speaking to Huggy. Huggy speaking back to everybody.
What's up? What's up?
Nick shaves his face with Lady Big razors and on his beard. I actually don't shave with razors at all. I don't use clippers. It's clippers all day. I got you. No, I don't. Don't use them at all, man. Wade in this thing. What up, Wade? My guy, Wade. What's up, man? How you feeling, bro? I hope all is well. Speaking of Wade, royalty has entered the chat. King Richard, what's up, my guy? Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing all right, man. Hope all is good, man. AU Dad, my guy. Yes, shout out to AU Dad. King Richard said, been waiting for the start of the season breakdowns. Yes, we are finally at the point now to where the rosters for a majority of the team should be settled. We shouldn't see much. We shouldn't be seeing a lot of transferring. We shouldn't see a lot more change in a lot of rosters. They should be set to the way that they will be, that we should see for the 2025 season. So now we actually get a chance now to actually start talking and actually putting some real prognostication on what we potentially can see from these teams moving forward in the 2025 season. There may be some additions here and there, but I don't think we'll see any major, subtractions, transfers out. But we could see some potential transfers in, or I don't know if we'll see any major transfers in, but we could see some late ass that can come in and be some death pieces for some teams. And so tonight we're starting this series, and it's really gonna be a whole month of May type thing. We're gonna go day by day, game by game on Auburn's schedule. We're gonna start with Baylor tonight, and we're gonna end all the way with Alabama, which is the last game of the season. And then after that, we're gonna go through all of the other SEC teams that we do not play this year. So I think we have 8 SEC games that we play this year, and including us, that's 9 SEC teams. So you're looking at roughly 7 more SEC teams that we're gonna look at in the conference, just so we can see where Auburn potentially could stack up at. Just looking at the teams, looking at the rosters, looking at just different metrics and different stats. Kind of what we're doing tonight. We're gonna do that for every team in the SEC plus the teams that Auburn plays on their schedule. So tonight is game 1. We're going with Baylor, and we hope y'all enjoy it. If y'all like it, let us know. If not, still let us know. But we're gonna try to break this thing down as much as we possibly can and just give our thought process. These shows may not be long. Some of them can be long, some of them may not be as long. But we're gonna sit down and we're gonna take a look at this thing and try to see what Auburn's up against our schedule and what Auburn is up against in the rest of the SEC, even with the teams that we don't play. Sounds like a plan, doesn't it, Marcus?
Sir, let's get it.
Yes, sir, man. King Richard said, man, no, Nick uses Venus razors for his legs. Man, I don't.
My God.
That's funny, bro. That's funny, man. Wade said, I'm great, man. I pray all is well with Marcus and yourself, my guy. Man, Wade, we rocking with you, man. We rocking with you. He said, dang, both Kings tripping on you, Nick, tonight. Yes, they are, bro. Yes, they are. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did. I plead the field. Man.
All that mayhem, man.
Shout out to Travell, the king of the comments, and then his Royal Highness King Richard. Shout out to both of them, man. Let's go ahead and let's get into this thing, man. So starting off the schedule with Auburn, man, we going into game 1, which is Baylor. It's cool, bro. It's all right. It's all good, bro. It's all good. Let's get this thing rolling. Starting off with game 1, Baylor. Auburn will play Baylor August 29th, 2025, which is a Friday night. The game was moved from Saturday to that Friday night. Actually puts Auburn in a prime time spot. A lot of people will be watching that game. If you're not at a Friday night football game for a high school, you'll be watching Auburn and Baylor play. So we're gonna take a look at this team, man. We're gonna try to see what we up against. We're gonna look and see what's going on, man. Marcus, before we get into it, any preliminary thoughts on Baylor before we get into the deep stuff and try to see what we're up against with this Baylor team?
I think Auburn Dad helped me get my preliminary out the way. Pretty much, it's this game means a lot.
Okay,
for what we need to see, for setting the tone for what we have at the future of Auburn.
Okay, all right, man. Well, let's get into it, man. Let's take a look at it, man. So Baylor, man, Baylor's coaching staff, head coach at Baylor, Dave Aranda. As you can see on the screen, I know a lot of us are familiar with Dave Aranda. He's been around the coaching ranks a lot. He's been at a number of schools, known as a defensive-minded coach. And he's been successful wherever he's been coaching defenses. Most recently, before he got the head coaching job at Baylor, He was the defensive coordinator and the associate head coach for LSU. He was part of that 2019 national championship team at LSU when he was the DC. I mean, pretty good defense. Has some guys on that got drafted as well. I mean, I know a lot of people talk about the offense with Joe Burrow and the receivers that he had there, Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and all those guys. And what was Thaddeus Moss? I think he was a tight end on that team as well. And talk about that, but that defense had some guys on that roster as well that did well. Dave Aranda coached at he was associate head coach and defensive coordinator at LSU. Before that, he was at Wisconsin, and then of course he had a DC stop at Utah State. Some other places he's coached. Was a linebacker coach at Houston at one point in time. I think that was the only position besides him being a DC at Delta State for a year. I think everywhere else he's been the guy on the defensive side of the ball. I think he's been that type of guy, the defensive coordinator. Looking at the offensive side of the ball, offensive coordinator Jake Spavital, Jacob or Jake, however you want to call him. Young guy, man. Young guy. Spavital has been all over the place. He's been in a lot of systems. Just from his playing career, he was a quarterback at Missouri State. Just looking at his timeline, he started as a quality control guy at Tulsa. In 2008, 2009, he was a GA at Houston. 2010, he was a GA at Oklahoma State. 2011 to 12, he was the QB coach at West Virginia. 2013 to 2015, he was actually at Texas A&M as the QB coach and offensive coordinator. He was there with Johnny Manziel. Was there when Kevin Summerall was the head coach at Texas A&M. He was there as well. Went to go be the OC and QB coach at West Virginia. Then he became the head guy at Texas State. He was the head coach at Texas State from 2019 to 2022. Went back to Cal to be the OC and QB coach, and then now he is at Baylor as the OC, man. Looking at Spavital's offense, it's a very up-tempo. When he has the guys in his offense that'll work, it's a very up-tempo style offense. It'll spread you out. It's a balanced offense as well. If you look at their numbers from last year, their rushing to passing numbers from last year, Baylor's offense on the ground rushing was 2,611 yards rushing, and passing was 3,397 yards passing. They averaged about 261 per game passing. They averaged about 178 rushing per game. Had about 25 touchdowns rushing and about, I think, 31 touchdowns passing as well. So it's almost like an air raid offense when he has his guys in there that he wants to exploit defenses with. When he has those guys in, it's a balanced offense, up tempo, spread offense, and it's red zone focus, which was interesting to me. We listened to him say it because they were only like 63% in the red zone last year. So I'm not exactly sure what happened last year in the red zone, but he has an emphasis on trying to score efficiently in the red zone there. He's coached some quarterbacks that we all know, most notably Johnny Manziel, who was a Heisman Trophy winner, coached him at Texas A&M. Will Grier, who was at West Virginia, who went to the NFL. Case Keenum, who was an NFL quarterback, a journeyman backup type guy. Kyler Murray, when Kyler Murray was at Texas A&M for that 1 year in 2015, Kyler Murray left, transferred to Oklahoma after Spavital left and went to Cal to be the OC and QB coach. And probably his most notable long tenured quarterback in the NFL, Geno Smith. He was part of that Geno Smith, one of the guys that was coaching Geno Smith as well. If you also think about it, Oklahoma State, when he was a GA there, he was also part of that Brandon Whedon things. I don't know if y'all remember Brandon Whedon when Oklahoma State.
Oh, yeah. That old guy.
Yeah, man. They was throwing that thing around, bro. So he was part of that offense as well. So you look at those kind of offenses and see what he was doing there. This is kind of what you kind of see here. And if you look at Baylor's offense last year and you kind of see what they wanted to do and what they brought in the transfer portal as well, it's going to be interesting to see how Auburn and Coach Durkin is going to be able to kind of corral that offense there as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what that does there. Looking at the defensive side of the ball, Matt Polich. I hope I'm saying his last name right. Matt Polich. Interesting dude, man. He's only like 38 years old. But he's been in some places that he's been in some places behind some guys that have had some experience other places. So just looking at his record, he was a GA at Southeastern Louisiana State. In 2012, he was a running backs coach at Northwestern. 2013, he was a GA for defense at Kentucky. 2014 to 2015, he was the running backs and special teams coordinator at Sam Houston State. He also went to Sam Houston State. He played fullback there as well. 2016 to 2017, he was tight ends and special team coordinator at Louisiana Monroe. 2018 and 2019, he was offensive line. Outside linebacker and special teams coordinator at Louisiana. Then this is when you saw him kind of get into that big time college football. You look at 2020 to 2021 safeties, special teams at Baylor. 2022, he was the co-DC and safeties at Oregon. And then he left after that 1 year at Oregon and came back to Baylor to be the DC there under Dave Aranda. So he's been there since 2023. Looking at this defense, bro, I think just doing a lot of research on this defense, it seems as if Dave Aranda is gonna have his hand in a lot of the defensive. I don't know if he's gonna be calling defense, but he's more than likely gonna be a very influential. And
you kind of expect that from a defensive minded head coach, bro.
Yeah.
And a young defense coordinator who hasn't been proven. So
yeah, you know what I'm saying. I and just listening to them talk, it seems as if Dave Aranda is gonna be. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if he's gonna be calling plays. Didn't really hear him say that, but it seems as if he's gonna be influential in game planning on the defensive side of the ball this year. Looking at some of their tape from last year, they do a lot of 3 down linemen, and they have 1 stand up in. They're gonna try to rush you with 4. But you never know where that 4th person is gonna come from. That 4th person could be the 4 that's on the line of scrimmage, the 3 down lineman, and stand up in. That stand up in can drop back, and then you can rush a linebacker, or that stand up in can drop back and they can rush the nickel guy. So you never know where that 4th guy is coming from. But look, from what I saw majority of last year, it's gonna be base 3 down guys, base on the 3 down linemen, 1 stand up edge in, if you want, however you want to call it, jack, whatever it is you want to call that position. 2 linebackers and five DBs. Some type of nickel defense. You'll see sometimes you may see them put 5 guys on the line. You may see them put 2 edges with 3 down linemen. They may rush 5, and they may just rush those 5 guys when it's 3rd and long. Try to get some pressure on the quarterback. So it'll be interesting to see what these guys do, but they definitely play a lot of zone on the back end. You know, a lot of cover 3, sometimes cover 2 man underneath. But majority of what I saw was a lot of cover 3, some cover 3. And of course they'll play some they'll play some mixed match man coverage as well too. What's up? What you about to say, Marcus? Go ahead.
Nah, I was just listening. It sounds like they're very they seem like they trust their defensive backs. That's what I often say.
Yeah, it seems like they don't want to get beat deep. That's what it seems like. Yeah. So I mean, you look at what Auburn's gonna do. With us throwing the ball, I mean, you're gonna have to probably try to figure out how to get the short game going. And hopefully, you know, with Jackson Arnold, who's potentially gonna be our guy at quarterback, hopefully he's able to be accurate in that short game, you know, that 7 to 12 yard range, because it seems like they don't want to give up anything deep. That's what it seems like. Just from watching some of their stuff from last year. So it's gonna be interesting to see what Auburn does there, man. Any thoughts on this so far before we move on?
I think that's why you go get Jackson Arnold for the short game. I think his accuracy is a big reason why we're very high on him. So the short game is where I think we need to excel in the first place for us to be successful, especially with this skill set of receivers that we have at our disposal.
Very true, man. I'm just looking at the numbers about their defense, man. The defense to me, looking at the numbers, they gave up passing yards, about 234 passing yards per game. Rushing, they gave up 185. They gave up 33 points per game. They gave up 33 points per game last year. That's not a good defense. And the total yards that they gave up on average was about 419 yards per game. So just looking at those numbers now, to be clear, they only have like, if I'm not mistaken, on the defensive side of the ball, they only have like 4 or 5 guys returning on the defensive side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, then they have like 7 starters returning. So, and it's gonna be interesting to see what they do there. So, I don't know, man. Well, I do know. I look at this, I look at the numbers, and I look at what they have returning. I think Baylor's gonna be a much more they'll be a much more mature team. And we have a lot of guys coming back, and things of that nature. So I'm interested to see what happened there, man. Let's move on to the second part, man. Just looking at this, man, Baylor, looking at the class that they brought in the recruiting class, number 40. They were the 40 ranked high school recruiting class. Transfer portal is what kind of piqued my interest there. 50th ranked in the transfer portal. They had 15 guys transfer in, 17 guys transfer out. But what they brought in, though, these are the guys, what they brought in. You're looking at what they brought in. They brought in Kobe Prentice, wide receiver from Alabama. Emarion Winston, that's supposed to be a apostrophe after that R. Winston, linebacker from Oregon. These are just some of the key guys that came in. Calvin Simpson Hutt, cornerback from Ohio State. Phoenix Jackson. I don't know if Auburn fans remember, but Phoenix Jackson was one of the early guys in the portal that was linked to Auburn. A report came out about Phoenix Jackson to where he had actually committed to Auburn, but said he was going to Auburn. But then next thing we know, they said they wanted to wait to see the meet him, and the commitment, I guess it never happened, and he ended up going to Baylor. So
seemed like he got a friendship with the Barnes kid going on.
Who you talking
about? Jackson.
I mean, maybe so. That might be the reason why. But it seemed as if before he even visited Auburn, Phoenix Jackson was like, "I'm going to Auburn." He has 1 year of eligibility left anyway. At Fresno State, and he was gonna come in and be one of those guys as a depth piece for Auburn this coming up season. But he was like, "Man, I'm committed going to Auburn, man. That's where I'm going." But that never materialized. And Auburn ended up taking Xavier Atkins, who was a transfer from LSU. I guess younger, have more years of eligibility left. So I guess they decided to go that route. Travion Barnes, linebacker from Fresno State as well. Excuse me, not Fresno State, FIU. I don't know why this says Fresno State. Excuse me. And then of course Walker White, quarterback, who was the guy in our class in 24. And he's now going there to be the quarterback in waiting for Auburn after this season. So, it's interesting to see, man. Looking at this, man, Baylor is returning 68% of his offensive production, which is 11th nationally, and 65% of his defensive production, which is 26th nationally. Now, a lot of that defensive production is coming from one guy. I'll tell you that. And we get to that in a minute. But looking at that, man, Marcus, what's your thoughts on
that? It's pretty much what I thought it was about Baylor. I feel like their offense yet explosive. It becomes stagnant at times, especially when you needed to generate yards the most. Defense is non-existent outside of like you said, one person who we're gonna speak on, but pretty much Baylor to me is Baylor, man. Like, I think they benefit from conference games a lot, but like when I see Baylor against big competition, I'm usually going the other way.
Baylor last year 8-5 record, lost to LSU in the bowl game last year, 44-31. They were 6-3 in the Big 12. Which I believe ranked like number 6 or 7. No, they may be higher than that. They may be higher than that. What was the Big 12 rankings? 2024 Big 12 rankings last year for football. Let me get that. Let me make sure I got that right before I say that, because they ended up winning like 6 of their last games, before the LSU loss. So Big 12, Baylor was 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. They were fifth in the conference, 6-3, behind Arizona State, BYU, Iowa State, and Colorado, who were all 7-2. So, I mean, they were right there in the middle. And you looking at if you're a person that looks at numbers, and if you're a person that looks at, the type of production that's coming back for a team that you're going up against, and you sitting here saying that Baylor's offense is returning 68% of its production and the defense returning 65% of its production, and they both ranked in the top 30 in the nation in that. I mean, you got to take a look at that and see what's going on, especially, you lost some guys, but you replaced a lot of that as well, too, in the transfer portal. I mean, you look at it and say you lost 17 guys in the transfer portal, but you brought in a lot of those guys to replace. So, you lost 2 D linemen, but you gained 2 linemen in the transfer portal as well. You lost 2 safeties, but you got 2 safeties in the transfer portal as well. You lost a long snapper, but then you got another long snapper in the transfer portal as well. You lost a quarterback in the transfer portal. You got another quarterback in the transfer portal. So I mean, so it's kind of like in the areas where they lost, Baylor kind of just matched it with what they lost. So if they lost 2, they went and replaced it with 2 more people. Now basically just looking at that and just seeing what they potentially can be moving forward. Like, do the replacements match the production of what they had last year, or are they better? And that's something that we've yet to see. Is a lot of people that are high on Baylor. A lot of people in the Big 12 are high on Baylor, and what they potentially can be. And a lot of people, this first game of the year against Auburn is a measuring stick for them, because if you listen to what Baylor has to say, they feel like they have a chance they can win the Big 12.
I just want to say, the fan base feel the same way our fan base do. Just about. If you go back and listen to their content, they sound pretty much the same. Outside of they have way more faith in their coach.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Very true. Very true. So I mean, I'm just sitting here saying I'm curious to know what ends up happening. And the more I look at it, the more I say to myself, are we looking at 2 teams that are almost kind of alike, but one team just has a more elite receiving room than the other?
This is what I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of correct. It's just, all right, their defense, their coach is a defensive-minded head coach.
Yeah.
Their defense is the weak spot of their team.
Okay.
And I don't think with the acquisitions that Baylor has that they addressed the deficiencies of their defense.
Really?
I think with Hugh Freeze being an offensive-minded coach, he addressed the deficiencies, quote unquote, that of his offense. I'm fingers crossed, because if he didn't, we're gonna be able to tell in this Baylor game, and it's gonna get real bad for us. But right now, he addressed all his deficiencies as an offensive coach.
So you saying you don't think Baylor addressed what they had on the defense side of the ball?
Not to the point of Auburn.
Okay.
Like I think Auburn has no excuse why not to be a top performing offense this year.
Now,
Baylor, even with the pieces that they got, you can still see Baylor defense not being as spectacular as you would think. If you get what I'm saying.
To your point, Baylor lost all their starting linebackers that played last year: Matt Jones, Garmin Randolph, Steve Linton. They lost all those guys. The only guy that's coming back that had significant playing time was Keaton Thomas, and we'll look at him on the next slide. But they went out and replaced those guys with what they had transferring in, 4 linebackers. They legit went out and got 4 linebackers to replace those guys. And they got some guys that have played major college football as well. These guys, I mean, wherever they came from, Fresno State, Oregon. You had 2 guys come from Oregon, if I'm not mistaken. You had a defensive lineman, Tama Pepe, I think is how you say his name. Transferred from Texas A&M. But I'm not a name aficionado. Please, I'm sorry if I mispronounced it wrong. I apologize if you watched it, sir. But you look at what they replaced it with what they lost. They went in and replaced it, and basically got enough bodies to be to be productive again. So I mean, and you got Dave Aranda as a defensive minded coach. He's gonna figure out a way to put those guys in the best position to make plays. So I would probably have to disagree with you on that. I think he went out and did everything, because you look at what they had transferred in. They had three offensive players, four offensive players transferred in.
So Nick, I don't mean to cut you up, but quote me if I'm wrong. Last year they had a pretty experienced defense.
They have one this year again. They have a lot of upperclassmen guys coming back. That's playing.
And their defense still probably gave up an average of how many points?
According to this, here's the thing. It said they gave up 33 points per game, but you also got to look at that you got to take into account that I think they threw like 11 interceptions, and I think a couple of those interceptions were returned for touchdowns as well. So you're looking at that, and basically those points are attributed to the defense, when the offense was the one that threw the pick, and they were still on the field and the other team scored. So I mean, it's a lot of things that go into it just to see exactly how it matters. But if you're just looking at it from that point, yeah, you're right. They gave up 33 points a game.
I just felt like his defense was better and more proven last year than what this defense will be, and that defense gave up 33 points a game.
Okay, all right. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'm interested in seeing what potentially could happen there.
But like I said, if you go watch, because I watch a lot of Baylor content since Walker White went there. If you go watch them, they talk like the Auburn fan base has been talking. So they think the potential of these transfers could possibly be, good enough to match up against anybody in their conference.
But my question is, what team doesn't do that though?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think Baylor is good enough to be top 3, top 4 in their conference again.
I mean, they was right outside of. They would if just looking at last year. I don't really too much look at last year because the roster is different. Their roster is different from what it was last year, even though they still got a couple of pieces that was on that roster from last year. They were one game away from being tied for the top spot, from being 7-2 in the conference and being at the same conference number that the 4 teams ahead of them was. Yeah. So, I mean, to your point, I mean, to your point there, you looking at them potentially saying Baylor a player away? You know what I'm saying?
I think if you look at what their conference, Colorado lost a lot, BYU lost a lot. Mm-hmm. So it's just like what their conference has to do to rebuild. It's an open window for Baylor right now in their conference. But if you ask me how they match up against the SEC team, well, I would say the top tier right now, SEC teams in recruiting, I really think it's a uphill battle for Baylor right now.
Okay, all right, we'll see. We'll figure it out. I'm gonna give my prediction at the end of this show what I think that game is gonna look like, and I've kind of already said it multiple shows before. But I'm gonna give my prediction on that game. I really am. Let's go to the next slide, man. Looking at some of the key returning players on the offensive side. Ashton Hawkins, wide receiver, 45 receptions, 567 yards, 5 touchdowns last season. Josh Cameron, wide receiver, 52 receptions, 754 yards, 10 touchdowns last year. Sawyer Robertson, quarterback, 62% completion percentage, 3,071 yards, 28 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. And 4 of their offensive linemen are returning as starters for Baylor this year. You see them on the screen. I'm not even going to try to pronounce those names. But when you look at the offensive line from last year, based on the numbers, these are the people that do it. Based on the numbers, they ranked 6th nationally in offensive line efficiency. They ranked 36 in the fewest sacks allowed, and they ranked 4th in total in tackles for loss allowed. So you're looking at a top 40, top 35 type offensive line out of 134 teams in FBS. So that's pretty top tier.
If they had an offensive line type coach, it would really be scary.
So, and then you add Kobe Prentice, who was a guy that was at Alabama. And I know a lot of Alabama fans will sit here and say, well, he didn't really do anything at Alabama last year.
He's fast though. He got some get out.
I mean, yeah, true. I'm gonna pull up his stat. I didn't write his stats down because I really want to see what his stats were last year and things of that nature. Because
I just know from the video game. I was just because he didn't play a lot at Alabama, so I just know
he didn't. He didn't play a lot. You know, he really didn't. That's you know, he didn't play a lot, but you know, it's not like he wasn't, you know, a recruit that they didn't want. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was a 4-star recruit.
I'll say it ain't no shot at him. I just see him a lot, but I see him on the video game.
I mean, yeah, you're looking at his numbers last year: 11 receptions for 129, 1 touchdown. You know, that's what you're looking at what he had at Bama last year. So, I mean, you know, adding him, he potentially going to be one of the three starters next year for that Baylor team. It's going to be interesting to see that. Then you look on the defensive side of the ball, Jackie Marshall, who's the defensive end, 42 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 5 QB hurries. Then you look at Keaton Thomas. This is the guy. This is the one right here. This is why I say 65%. A lot of that 65% come from this guy. 106 total tackles, 62 solo tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks, and he had 1 interception return for a touchdown.
One thing I will say,
and he's a sophomore. He'll be a sophomore this year. That's the crazy thing about it.
I was just gonna say one thing I will say. If I'm a defensive minded coach, I'm kind of happy that I got that guy right there coming back with that type of production.
Yeah, bro. I'm telling you, man.
That's something you can build around right now.
I mean, yeah. And then you look at what they brought in, man. They brought in other linebackers from big time schools, Oregon. They brought in a safety from Oregon. They brought in a cornerback from Ohio State. You know, these are guys that these schools recruited that were highly rated guys coming out of college. I mean, out of high school. I mean, and they went to some of these big time programs. So now you get them in to where they could have started at those schools, but now just because of potential, you know, guys that were ahead of them, they didn't get a chance to get on the field and play. Now they get to go to a program to where they're actually going to be able to get on the field and be in a rotation and be the man. So you get to see that talent jump in. So I'm looking at this, man. I'm telling you, I think a lot of teams are gonna make a jump this year. I don't know. I mean, I look at Baylor and I'm saying I'm not worried about the game, but I wouldn't be surprised if Auburn struggled in this game for a minute, especially in the beginning.
Well, you know this game is a game where if we don't see what we need to see early on, it can get away from us.
I don't see. That's why I disagree with that. And I'm gonna take this off the screen. If I have in the chat, we'll put it back on the screen. But we're gonna get into the conversation. Go ahead.
That offense is good enough to put up points.
Okay.
And we know, and we have seen in the past, and you have spoke on this. If he gets down by a certain amount, he panics.
But this is the thing, though. I agree with you there. But this is the thing. When I'm looking at the defensive scheme that Baylor's running. I'm looking at them putting 3 down linemen on the ground. They'll put a stand-up jack edge in, whatever you want to call that position. A lot of people call it a different position. He stands up on the line. They are trying to rush you with 4 guys.
Yeah.
Rarely they're going to bring 5. Sometimes they only rush you with 3. So what they're going to do, and they're going to drop 7 at least in coverage, if not 8 sometimes. So what that does is that clogs up a lot of passing lanes.
No. Before you go, your question to you though, Nick.
Go ahead.
If you're Baylor, are you not? And I know you have a coach mindset and you study a lot of film. If you're Baylor, are you not studying that Cal film defensively?
No, not at all. No. You talking about Auburn? No, because this is a different team. You like that Auburn Cal film from 2023. That wide receiver room, even though I think it was a a on par room, even though people want to say it wasn't, it is nothing compared to what this Auburn wide
I
receiver
agree.
room was.
I agree with that. I'm talking about as far as blitz control, like the way they blitz the gaps. I think that Cal, the way Cal blitzed us that game was amazing.
I guess, man. I guess I'm gonna put it like this. I look at that and I say, I mean, yeah, you could probably look at that, and the thing about it is Spavital was the OC that game against Cal because he was at Cal that year when we played him. When we went to Cal and won by a touchdown. So I mean, yeah, but Durkin wasn't the defensive coordinator then. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole different. That's a whole different defense. You know, that was a Ron Roberts defense. You know,
I wasn't even talking about it from defense. I'm talking about
Obo was the offensive coordinator, and now I guess Coach Freeze is gonna be calling plays now. You know, well, he been calling plays, but Coach Freeze gonna be calling plays. So I mean, you know, I think
we had 3 play callers, Nate. We had 3 play.
Right, my bad. We had 3 play callers. We ain't
gonna do that.
We had 3 play callers. We had 3 play callers. My bad. We had 3 play callers.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I think that game is, I mean, yeah, you can look at it, but I'm looking at that Auburn Cal game in 23, and I'm like, I'm not gonna learn nothing from that game. I mean, because you look at the roster and the talent, it's upgraded a lot. I mean, like for real. Like the offensive line is better. The quarterback is upgraded.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying, from a scheme standpoint for this Baylor defense, I'm watching that game and trying to figure out what blitz packages to send. Because if you only send 4 against this Auburn, this new Auburn offense, we should eat you alive. That's not a risk I'm willing to take.
But you got to understand this though. If you send in 4, right? If you're trying to get pressure with 4 down, if you're trying to get pressure with 4 linemen, correct? You dropping 7 in coverage. So now that makes it harder for the quarterback to be accurate enough with the football and throw it into lanes that ain't there sometimes. So I mean, let's just get it real. If you doing that, and if okay, let's put it like this: if I'm Auburn's offense, we coming out in 11 personnel, tight end, 1 running back, 3 receivers, and I'm a quarterback, and I see them drop 7. Numbers tell me that's two defenders to one receiver. If the tight end doesn't go out for a pass, you know, if the tight end is standing, if the tight end or the running back standing for a pass, that's 2 defenders to 1 receiver.
If I see them drop 7, I'm more inclined to think that they're going to run zone, which means
that's what he's doing. That's what Baylor's trying to do.
With our receiving core, that means that they can run their routes and find windows, which means with our experienced O-line, they shouldn't get pressure worse than 4.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you on that. This offensive line should be able to stop those 4 with 5 guys. But what I'm saying is, if they drop 7 in coverage, right?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But
if they drop 7 in coverage and only 3 guys go out for a pass in the passing route, you keep the back end and you keep the tight end in for protection. Or even if you let the tight end or the back go out, that's 4 guys going out with 7 guys. Basically, you're gonna have 2 guys for every receiver. Basically, so even if they are running zone, you're gonna have 2 guys in an area of the field that's covering zones of area of the field. So if he finds a window, that pass gonna have to be, I ain't gonna say almost perfect, but it's gonna have to be to a spot to where only his guy can get it. Because if you got a guy sitting short and a guy sitting long, if you overthrow it, it's a possibility it can be picked. If you don't put enough on it, it's a possibility it could be intercepted or tipped or whatever. So it'll have to be almost in an area to where it's perfectly thrown. In this offense, I would, if I'm looking at Baylor and I'm looking at them running a lot of man coverage, Auburn eating them up all day. All day long. If I saw a lot of man coverage, and they do run some man, they do run some man on the X receiver by himself on the backside a lot. I did see them run man on the backside receiver, but that cornerback had over the top help from that safety as well. So that's still a problem. So he gonna have to. I put it like this: it's not gonna be as easy as people think it is. This Baylor game, I tell you that. The fact that it's in Waco, it's on a Friday night.
But the
In
thing
Waco.
about it is, going back to what we were saying, he has to start early, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not a game where you just try to figure it out as we go along. I think you need to start fast. I think you referenced what the Texas A&M game. You always reference.
That's what they need to be. They need to do that. They got to
You
figure that
start
out.
fast.
Yeah, they need to play. They need to play with the lead. If they can learn how to play with the lead, it'll be a different game for Auburn all year, man. Wade said, "My dude, hug you." Is what he talking about, man. Auburn said, "Man, don't like it because it's away and on a Friday. Man, you don't like it. You don't like the fact that they moved it up to Friday and it's away on Friday. I think I'm gonna be real with you. I think that benefits the Wake. I think that benefits Baylor. I'm gonna be real with you. Friday night primetime game. You know, everybody's gonna be watching
at the house.
Yeah, and everybody's gonna be watching it on TV. I think it's gonna be an ESPN game. I'm not sure yet. It's gonna be there's a lot of pressure on Auburn in this game, but the fact that it's already away under the lights in Waco, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm just playing. Let me not say that. But you know, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens there, man. Auburn dad said, man, we beat Cal under Spavital's offense. So that's a good thing. I don't know, man. They was able. I mean, that was a close game all game. I mean, he was able to move the ball, but you got to understand they also, I think, didn't they like have 3 different quarterbacks in that game? A quarterback got hurt in that Cal game or something like that. I can't remember it all the way. My guy Brad, what up, Brad? How you feeling, man? He said Brandon Williams was like 38 years. He was. Brandon Williams was old as I don't know what. He was. He probably was older than Spavital. He probably was. He probably was older than Spavital when you think about it, to be honest with you.
They had a 30 for 30 story about his age, so you know he was old.
He was old, bro. If we don't beat them by 21, throw the season in the man. I'm not like that.
I'm not on that. Like, because at the end of the day, Baylor's still a good team.
Yeah.
So
man.
if we just get by and we still see, like, even if we win this game off natural talent, we should still be confident. Because this is one of the games that me and you honestly feel like natural talent wise, we can win. This is not one of the games I feel like he got to outcoach the coach.
I think with Dave Aranda being more involved in it, I don't know if he's gonna be calling the defense, but with him being more involved in that offense and that defensive meeting and defensive install during the week, man, Dave Aranda know what he's doing when it comes to defense, bro. I'm gonna be real with you. That dude know what he's doing when it comes to defense. I'm telling you, man. I have to put a little bit more focus into that. I'm just gonna be real with you. But I get what you're saying. But based on, I think Auburn's a more talented roster. Don't get it twisted. I think they are. I think they are the more talented roster. But if you got a coach that can scheme it up and put guys in the right position to be successful,
even if this is a game that Hugh Freeze has to outcoach the opposing coach, if he can't outcoach this Baylor coach, the gauntlet gonna be crazy in the SEC.
Dave Aranda was what you mean? He was the DC at LSU. But we sitting here acting like this is the thing. This is the thing that I dislike a lot. We sit here and we look at a team and we be like, yeah, man. Like when people like last week when I said I think Mississippi State gonna be a bowl team. I think Mississippi State gonna go bowl eligible. Everybody was like, huh? Mississippi State. I'm telling y'all, look at what Jeff Lebby has done everywhere else he's been. He's won everywhere else he's won. What he did in the transfer portal, I'm telling you, Mississippi State gonna be a better team this year. I think they're gonna win 6 games. I'm not sitting here saying they're gonna be in the national and the college football playoff. I'm not saying that. I think they win 6 games. But I'm telling you, man, we got in this era of transfer portal, we have to stop looking at school names and start looking at what they did from a roster from a roster setting, and then look at who's coaching that roster and their philosophy. I'm just being honest, because the era of us, because we said that about New Mexico State. And guess what? New Mexico State came in here and put 31-10 on us at Auburn. We said that about Vanderbilt last year after coming off of a bye week and lost by 10 points to Vanderbilt.
Very fact.
We said that about people saying that about Arkansas. And guess what? Arkansas came into Auburn and beat Auburn by 10 points last year. So, I mean, we got to stop looking at these brands and just looking at the school name and just being like, oh, man, we should beat them. Yeah, we should. But let's look at the roster. Let's look at who's coaching this.
The thing about it is in this game, we're not looking just at the brand. We're looking at the roster. You just said our roster is, in your opinion, is better, correct?
Yeah, I think it's better, but to sit here and say it's gonna be talent alone, I can't rock with that. Especially when Dave Aranda has proven at an SEC school has won a national championship as a defensive coordinator at an SEC school and put guys in the league from an SEC school that he can coach. So I can't sit here and be like, just our talent alone, we can win this game. I think there's gonna have to be some, to your point, I think there's gonna have to be some coaching involved in that on the offensive side of the ball. I wholeheartedly believe that.
Well, if that's the case, which I'm inclined to think that as well, all I would say is for the future of Auburn, we have to hope that our coach has addressed those games that you mentioned from last year that he dropped the ball in. Because we can all agree that in those situations where coaching malfunctions, you shouldn't come off a bye week and get blitzed against Vandy like that. That's something to me was big from the coaching standpoint. So we're hoping that those issues have been addressed, along with our roster being as good as it is. And the reason why I say it from a talent standpoint alone, we're looking at a team that just got 41 hung up on them by LSU, which I'm not comparing. In my mind, our offense outside of the quarterback position could be just as good as the LSU offense from last year. So that's the reason why I said what I said.
Okay. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you I'm not disagreeing with you at all with that. I mean, I feel what you're saying. King of the Comments Reveal said, man, top 3 in their conference is 7 in ours. All right. Okay. I mean, Arizona State did come in last year. And Mississippi State won their top team in the SEC last year. They was only 2-10. So I get what you're saying. So you think Baylor's cornerback can slow down AU's receiver room? I don't think there's a whole lot of schools that will be able to do that. No, I'm not saying, to your point, I'm not saying that there is that. I think there are a limited amount of cornerbacks out there that can slow down some of these receivers on Auburn's offense. But when you scheme it up, when you look at Baylor's scheme and you see that they like to drop 7, sometimes they'll drop 8 into a zone coverage, and you only at max, and you look at what Auburn does with 11 personnel, and even if they were to put 4 wide and you drop an 7, 8 in coverage, math tells me that's two defenders to one receiver. So it's going to be harder to put the ball in windows when you got 8 people covering. If in the defense, you have 7 zones basically that you cover. You have deep thirds. If you run it, you got deep thirds, or if you run a cover 2, you got the halves of the field, but you can cut them up into 3s or quarters. Then you have the underneath routes. You have the hook curls, you have the curl to flats. That's 4 areas. And on the back end, you have the deep thirds in the middle of the field. So that's 7 areas that you have to cover in a zone defense when you run the defense. If I put an extra guy in that zone, that's 8 guys, and I'm only running 4 people in a wide receiver pattern, that tells me that's 2 people to 1 receiver. So it's gonna be harder. So and when that happens, that's when we start seeing coverage sacks, because now the defense is covering so long, the quarterback doesn't have anywhere to throw the ball, so that gives the defensive line extra time to get to the quarterback. So it's just looking at that, looking at how teams and how teams can scheme this up to make it hard for Auburn to be successful. You know, I know you got a great wide receiver room, so guess what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna put extra guys in the backfield on the back end where you can't throw the ball deep. That's all. That's it. You know, let's go cover 7 look. Let's put a box coverage around you. That's basically
the only reason why I can agree with you, Nick, in the fearful way of them dropping that many guys is because under the Hugh Freeze era of quarterbacks, I have yet to see a quarterback that has been fluent to go through his progressions.
So that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good
And
point.
in that type of situation, we need a quarterback that's going to be patient because he's going to have to go through his progression.
That's a good
Because
point.
if he rushes that throw, he's going to throw an interception.
It's a good point. I mean, you make a great point there. You make a great point. But this is the thing though. Like, what is the counter? What is the counter if if I see them drop 7 or 8 in coverage? What is the counter to me getting the ball to my playmakers quick and fast? It has to be short. It has to be something very short.
Yeah, well, you run underneath curl routes. You run quick
like
curl routes, and you take advantage of quick windows. That's the reason why I say Jackson Arnold has to be able to throw the quick game, and he has to be able to go through his progressions when they bite on those curl routes.
Very true. I agree with you though, man.
Checkdowns in this game will be a lot.
But they got to install some checkdowns in his offense. They have to. They got to give him a check down somewhere. Running back, tight end, something. You know, Cedric Phillips said they might have brought players from the portal, but they have to learn a new defensive scheme too. Will they be prepared the first game of the season? I'm gonna be real with you, Cedric. I think they will because they went through a whole spring with Baylor. They went through a whole spring of install, so I think they'll have a grasp of it as well. So we'll see what happens, but it may take them a little bit longer to understand it, but from what I've read so far about Baylor, it seems as if they had a great spring. That's what it seems like. I think one of the things that Coach Aranda said, he said that this was probably one of the cleanest springs that he's had.
Man.
At
Nick,
Baylor.
you said it earlier, bro. This is the exact same team as us in so many different ways.
It kind of feels the same.
It feels like watching their show feels the same as watching the Auburn show.
It really does. You know, he played well his freshman year. Yes, he did. I think he was talking about Kobe Prentice. Yeah, Kobe Prentice. Ron Roberts was the DC at Baylor before us, and is Aranda's mentor. That is true. Shout out to Auburn Dad with the connections there. I like that, Auburn Dad. Man, y'all know he was. See, we didn't want to say nothing. He said, man, y'all know he was the one calling plays. He just punted the ownership for the poor game.
Look, Brad.
Shout out to Brad.
Brad, look.
Shout out to Brad, bro. Letting everybody know what's up.
You said it. We didn't say it. So, you know, you said it. We didn't say it. All I'm saying is,
Brad, baby. We with you.
All I'm saying is, Brad, we can't afford to do that this year.
You right here with you, dog. We right here with you right now.
We can't afford to have that this year. That's all I would say, Brad. Can't afford it. Can't afford it at all.
Ken Richard said, man, I wouldn't look at anything that worked for any team that went up against Auburn in the last couple of years. I agree with you there. This is a totally different roster, and Jackson Arnold is gonna burn his ass with his legs and wide receivers. Man, Ken Richard, we got an opportunity to do it, bro. We got an opportunity to do it. Talk about if you blitz a lot, man. I'm gonna be real with you, man. I didn't see Baylor blitz a lot. I just saw them bring pressure. Now, one package that I saw them do like that, I didn't get the percentage, but when they had 3 down linemen, they had 2 stand-up ends. Majority of the time, they was gonna bring 6 at that time, and most of the time, those were like 3rd and long situation where they was trying to get to the quarterback and things and stuff like that. But majority of the time, they have 3 down linemen, 1 stand-up edge, and they're gonna bring 4. They're gonna try to rush with 4, and that's just based off of last year. Now they may be in a whole different, defensive scheme, but we'll see what happens. And that 4th person can come from anywhere on the field. It can come from the linebacker spot. It could just be the stand-up edge that's already that's standing up on the line of scrimmage. It could come from the nickel back that's blitzing. It could come from the cornerback that's blitzing off the field. It could come from anywhere, but they're gonna try to get pressure with the 4th with 4 guys, and they're gonna try to drop 7 in coverage. And sometimes they'll just rush 3 and just try to drop 8 in coverage if they get kind of 8 up on that back end, man. I have a feeling Auburn will win by 24. Whoa. I can't go with that one, King. I can't go with the 24, man. I can't go with the 24. I think that's 10.
If we win by 24, that's a statement. Man.
Yeah, if we win by 24, you're right. That's a statement. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm looking at like 10. I think it's like 10, like a 10-point win, somewhere in that range for Auburn. That's what I'm looking at. 24 though, man. If that happened, bro, that's crazy. Robert Smith said, no, honestly, Baylor has a team that is just as good, if not better. Not better. Their QB definitely has advantage. Look it up. Yeah, nah, man. You looking at we put the stats up right here, man. You looking at it. Sawyer Robinson, man. 62% completion, 3,071 yards, 28 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. And he came in for Finch, who was the guy that transferred from Toledo to Baylor last year, but I think he either got hurt or he got benched, and now he's transferred back out to Miami of Ohio. Finch. So Sawyer Robinson came in last year, and he did those numbers in like the last 8 games of the season. So just imagine if he would have had a full year like he's gonna have this year to be the guy. He potentially could have been a 33, probably 34,000 yard guy last year. So Sawyer Robinson, that guy, man. I'm just being real. Like we cannot sleep on Baylor at all, bro. We can't do it at all. Not nowhere near it. This might be the most important game of Freeze's tenure. I agree with you there, Sweet Stuffer. I agree with you there. Because in the words of if this game don't work, boy.
I was going to say from a crowd standpoint, from a fan base standpoint, yes. Because it's just like the rebellion or whatever. It's gonna be crazy if he loses.
It's gonna
be very crazy. Oh, it is, and it's like under any other circumstances, if he would have had a decent season in these last couple seasons, him losing this game probably wouldn't mean as much. But this game means a lot for his career.
Agree.
Because you'll be able to look at the pros and cons of this game and be like, all right, he's playing on Friday. He's playing an away game. He played in daytime. You'll look at it, but it's like, we ain't trying to hit it. As a fan base, we just need you to get it done. No matter how you get it done, you need to get it done.
I agree, bro. I agree. Shout out to 50 Cent. 50 Cent into the chat. Curtis Jackson, he in the chat. He said QB or handoff or run if they drop all
if they drop 8, yeah, bro. We need to run the football, bro.
To your point, 50, you were perfectly right. But does this offense do it? Do they do it? Do they do it? In your opinion, do you think they do that, Curtis? Do you think they do that, Kurt? Fifth. Do you think they do it, Fifth? Like, for real? Come on. I'm just being real. I don't think he'll do it. I mean, because even
it's sad that we didn't even bring it up as an option because we know that's the farthest thing away from his mind.
That's my point.
We know that's the plausible thing to do, but that's not what our coach want to do. So we ain't even trying to think about it like that.
No, it's crazy, bro. Just got in here, man. Sorry I'm late, fellas. It was a very long day at work. Sup, Marcus and Nick War Eagle, man. Shout out to you, Fifth. You know, we got Fifth in the building, man.
You got all those movies to make, man.
You making all those movies.
You're nothing to get ready to drop.
Yeah, you about to bring Power back, my guy. Hey, as long as I can be Ghost in Power book, whatever.
Just squash the beef with Omar.
That's it. Just to make it happen, bro. We need that back. They say this is a big rich town. We need that back, bro. Not the one with Trey Songz. We need the one with Joe. Forget the Trey Songz one. We need the Joe one. Don't ever bring that Trey Songz one back. Never in your life. Don't do that. Brad said, man, yo, do y'all think Coach Freeze hold Jackson on out of spring game so other teams wouldn't have footage? In all honesty, if he did, good on him. I agree wholeheartedly. I think it's exactly what he did. Because it's so much that you can just sit here and just sometimes got to listen to when people tell you stuff. The thing is, man, he said he didn't even want to have the spring in the first place. Let's just be real. He didn't want to have the spring in the first place. So that tells me that they're comfortable with Jackson Arnold and his skill set at quarterback. They comfortable with that. And they don't want to hurt the franchise. Because they got a chance, because Auburn got a chance to do some big things this year. They ain't trying to hurt the franchise. I mean, we saw what we needed to see. It was the same thing with Eric Singleton. Eric Singleton didn't even play in the spring showcase at all either. It was like, man, we saw everything we need to see. We ain't about to hurt the franchise.
They came in. Oh, you still catch. Oh, you can still throw.
Yeah, you still good. Yeah, you fast.
Go catch the bitch.
You everything we knew it was, man. We ain't about to put this on tape. We good. We know what we got.
We'll see you in the fall.
Yeah, man. We'll see you in the fall, bro. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you, Brad. That's exactly what they did. I don't know if Auburn wins by 24, bro, but I think we win by 13.
Yeah, I'm What's up, Tim?
I'm looking at that 17 range. That's what I'm looking at, man. Baylor.
I'm 13, 17.
I'm looking at the 17 range. I'm tempted to go 3. I'm tempted that this potentially could be like a last drive type thing for Auburn, drives it down the field and kicks a field goal. And if that happens, that would tell me a lot about Auburn. That would tell me the grit.
I was going to say that. Tell me where I'm looking for. Yeah,
if that was happening. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. If Auburn, like it's an end of the game situation where it's Jackson Arnold, you at the 26-yard line, you got to get in field goal range to give Alex McPherson the game winning kick. Man, I wouldn't be surprised. And if Auburn can do that, or even get the go ahead touchdown, and if Auburn does that, that'll tell me everything I need to know about what this season gonna be like. And if that were to happen, I'd be more optimistic. I'd be more optimistic about the season if that were to happen. Just to be real with you. This is my bad. Yeah, what up, Tim? How you feeling, Tim? Good, my guy, man. Huggy back. What up, Huggy? The legend of Sweet Sugar Bear Williams. He said this is definitely the game for Hugh Freeze, man. I think we all agree that we're gonna be watching this game a lot. We're gonna be watching this game very intently. This game, man. Tim said, man, agree, Huggy. If this Baylor game is too close, it's gonna be a long season. I hear where you're coming from, but I also see it a different way as well, too, man.
I feel like if it's close, like I said, that would be talent pushing us over the top.
I feel you.
Because like you were saying, if it's a game-winning drive, I can see Jackson Arnold throwing a lob pass up to an Eric Singleton or Cam Coleman and a big reception made, something like that to put us in field goal range to win the game.
Tim says, if Baylor scores more than blank points, sound the alarm. What's the number? All right, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at this from it's the first game of the year. And it's still a young defense, but you got a lot of talent on defense, but you got a lot of guys that played last year on this defense that's coming back. I'm going to go. Man, I'm going to probably go like 24. What you say?
Yeah, I say 24, 27.
You said 24, 27? Yeah. Yep. I'm going to probably go 24. If they score more than 24 points, I think you're looking at this like, all right, this defense is good enough to at least not have them score more than 24.
I'm like, hey, Durkin, we've been hyping you up all season now. Don't you play with me like this?
So, yeah, I'm going to probably go 24. Arnold ran all over Bama. I pray Coach Hugh Freeze gets out of his own stubborn way. But to answer y'all, heck no. He with us, man. I don't think it's going to happen, man. I was going to say 17, but 21 sounds good, too. Okay. I like that. 17. I would go 17, 21, but just because it's the first game of the year, I think you're going to see a lot of guys just trying to get into the game, like get into game speed. And it's the first game of the year. So I'm gonna put 24. I say 24. I think 24 is probably if you get to 20, if they score more than 24, you looking at it like, all right, now come on, what we doing?
17 is a field goal and 2 touchdowns. I can see a young defensive core like ours having 2 mental lapses to give up 2 big touchdowns, but to 3 to 4 touchdowns, I'm starting to get real worried.
I put it like this. If Auburn only gave up 17 points in this game, Auburn would definitely be a top 10 defense.
Yeah, I ain't really worried about it.
Not just in the SEC, but in the country.
17 don't frighten me as much as that 24, 28 number.
I feel you on that. Hawbone, he said Baylor is a worthy opponent this season. Very Clemson-like, scary. I'm with you on that, man. I'm telling you, I'm looking at the numbers and I'm like, yo, bro, this is what up, Harbon, man? Hope all is good with you, my guy. Well, you know we with you, man. We rocking with you, my guy. Tool, man, righteously. Based off the track record, I say 24-27. So I think we all in that same spot. Time to start chewing nails. I think we all in that same spot right there. You know, looking at it, man. Everybody saying what's up to Tim. Tim entered the chat. Tim, the two of my say, man. Say, man, what you doing there, man? It ain't there tonight. It ain't there. Look, my liver can't handle 27 points being scored on by Baylor, man. I mean, you look at Baylor, man. Baylor put up an average of I mean, you looking at what Baylor put up average. They were a 9-3-1. They were a 439 per game team last year. Just looking at the numbers, they could put up some yards now, and they scored some points. It's just the defense just didn't give up nothing last year. They gave up a lot of points as well too, so it made it look worse. So I mean, Baylor got some guys, man. They got two guys. They had one guy that went over 500, and they had another guy that went over. He was a sophomore too that went over 700 yards. So you got a potential to see some explosive fireworks, and if that happened, man, we need to see all this superstar power that we got on this offensive side go crazy, man. Man, I went back and watched the 2017 Iron Bowl. It was time to move on from Gus, but I don't think we win less than 7 games if we keep him. I feel you on that. I understand where you're coming from with that, Brad. Like, especially with that team last year, I think Gus get you 7, at least 7 last year, because Gus gonna keep doing what he does best. Telling you
I think at best, at worst, Mark Rick. Like that Mark Rick, 8, 9, 10, just keep floating around, hoping to just get back to the promised land.
Yeah, I feel what you're saying.
And I love Gus to death, but I think at worst, we will be that.
I see what you're saying, man. We got a lot of comments in this thing. So if they score 24, but what happens if it's a 48-24 game? I think that's still a good game. If it's 48, if Auburn put up 48 points,
if Auburn put up 48 points, we are exactly where we need to be.
Yep.
And I'll be cool with that little 24 because I feel like that's the youth of our defense. And as the year goes on, our defense will be better.
Agree.
But 48 points from our offense is exactly what we need to be.
Tim, I'm with you right here. He said, I just want to see our red zone offense. That'll tell a lot too. I'm with you on that, Tim.
Yep. Hey,
like we need
Timmy,
to get the thing back up, man. We need to get that thing back up. You said Baylor might be a double gummy game. Hey, pop that thing, man. Just chill, bro. And or be like Huggy, just blowing something in the wind. That's it. Tight Sports and Alabama Football Megatech. He said, "What up, folks, man? I'm not saying that word. FY after the Baylor game, applications for the bandwagon will be available. We not coming
like you gonna come in like that?
We ain't coming over like that.
You coming in like that type."
Brad Brown said, man, he said going back to Spavital, the dude is a stud play caller when he has to do. That's what I'm saying. I said that earlier. You looking at what he did at Cal, he didn't have his guys that he wanted at Cal. You look at what he did last year when he got Sawyer Robertson in, he balled. And now he got him back plus the 2 guys that were there last year. I'm telling you, they can light up a scoreboard.
The problem ain't with their offense. The problem is with their defense.
I agree with you though, but the thing, here's the even thing when you get to the defense side of the ball. We've seen Dave Aranda do things with I'm not gonna say mediocre, but not top tier defenses in the SEC and still win. And the SEC level, he did it at LSU. We saw him do it. So I can't sit here and be like, this guy is not gonna be able to not be able. He did it at Wisconsin. We're not gonna be able to see him be like he can't coach. He's not gonna be able to scheme it up. So I'm just sitting here saying, man, like he's done it in what everybody considers to be the best conference in college football, and he won a national championship with it as well.
I'm gonna say, but on that defense, quote me if I'm wrong, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
Did he have Devin White and Patrick Queen on that defense? If I'm wrong,
yeah, he did.
Them some big pieces, Nick.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you there, but you got to look at the 2016, look at the 2017, look at the 2018 defenses. That 2018 defense came into Auburn, and guess what? If I'm not mistaken, what was the score of that 2018 game of the 2018 Auburn LSU game when Joe Burrow threw that thing right over Deshaun Davis' head. Deshaun Davis, I remember like it was yesterday. Deshaun Davis went up to try to get the pick. Joe Burrow just layered it right over Deshaun Davis' head and put it. I can't remember who the receiver was. Put it on him, and dude just took off. And they got him. And they got in range and scored. What was that score? Hold up. Let me see. What was that score? 22-21. 22-21.
That's a Derrick Brown fumble that he scooped and he would have. If he would have stayed on his feet, we'd have won that game.
Yeah, they only gave up 21 points in that game that year. So I mean, you looking at it and you saying, man, it's not like he can't scheme up something, bro. It's not like he can't do it. So I mean, Dave Aranda is the wild card to me, especially with him now being more involved in that thing in the game planning. You're right, Tight. We will have the War Eagle app ready for you. Tight. We're gonna have it ready for you, Tight, when you ready to come on over and you tired of Slick Sheridan. All right, Huggy said he out this time, man. Huggy, man, shout out to you, man. Yeah. We'll see you tomorrow, my guy. As always, man, we appreciate you, man. Let's see what Auburn that said. Be honest, he had Joe Burrow on offense running the up scores besides AU. That's the AU game was probably the closest game they had, and he only gave up 21 points to Auburn. I'm just saying. Buddy said, man, what's up, fellas? Auburn has to beat Baylor to open the season, but Walker White can still have a great season even if they beat us. War Eagle. I don't even think Walker White gonna be the starter. There, man. But we wishing Walker White the best. But he definitely said he gonna come back into Auburn and beat Auburn at Jordan-Hare Stadium. He did say that. That's what he said. And that's next year. That's in 2026 when they come to Auburn in the home and home series. Ladies and gentlemen, man, we appreciate y'all so much for rocking with us here around the water cooler, man. We'll be back tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, back around the water cooler. Marcus, what you got to say to people before we get up out of here, man?
Y'all be safe, take care, and be blessed.
Yeah, man. Tomorrow we'll be looking at Ball State. Like I said, we're starting with every team. Tonight we did Baylor. Tomorrow we're doing Ball State. That may not be a long show, but because I think we all think we could beat Ball State, but you never know. We'll look at the numbers. We'll see what Ball State had in the transfer portal. And see what they added, and we'll go from there, man. But before we get out here, man, make sure you follow us on Facebook at the Water Cooler Talk Podcast. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the Water Cooler Talk. If you're on Twitter, follow us on Twitter at CoolersPod23. Follow us on Twitter at CoolersPod23, and of course, subscribe, like, share, hit the notification bell button here on YouTube, so you know when we post more videos and go live, man. We appreciate y'all so much as always for continuing to rock with us here around the Water Cooler. As always, we keep it, man. We keep doing everything for y'all, man, because y'all are the ones that keep coming around with us, man. Do we think Coach Hugh Freeze keeps it close to the vest in game one, or is he letting that thing fly at the gate? I think he's letting it fly. Everything that he been wanting to do, he got all the talent and all the pieces around him. He about to just let it go. I'm telling you. Who is this Walker White? Who is this Walker guy you speak? Shout out to Brad, man. Shout out to Tim, man. Great stream, man. We appreciate y'all, man. We appreciate y'all, man. I didn't mean to say Walker White. He sucks. Oh my God, Walker White, man. Come on, man. Come on. Walker White, good people, man. He good people. He just had to go somewhere we can get on the field quicker. The push for 5,000 subscribers. Let's go. Yes. Speaking into existence, Hallbone. We trying to reach that number, man. We trying to reach 659. That's all we're trying to get to. 650 subscribers. Help us get there so we can get to 700 after that. Brad Brown said, man, I appreciate y'all, man. Help us get through this time between spring ball and regular season. That's what we do, man. That's what we do. And then when the season comes, guess what? We're gonna be here still.
Such a draining time.
It is. We're gonna be here still when the season comes. We're gonna be here with the after games. We're gonna be here during the week. We're gonna be trying to get y'all some good content coming in, man. Barbara keeps his roster together. I feel sorry for Walker White. Ooh. I think Walker White will be all right. Hopefully. Great show, fam. Shout out to you, man. We appreciate you, man, as always, man. Yeah, man. Help us get to 650. And after that, let's help us get to 700, man. So we trying to keep pushing, man. We appreciate y'all so much for rocking with us, man. As always, man. As always, y'all have a good one. Better yet, y'all have a great one. Y'all be blessed, man. Make sure y'all give the man upstairs above his, man, because he deserves it all. Give the Lord all the blessings, all the praise, all the glory. And until tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, around the water cooler is one love. Ladies and gentlemen, guess what? We out this mug. We holla. Eugene Asante, take us out,
boys and girls of all ages. You're tuned into the Water Cooler Talk Podcast, the biggest podcast in the world. Yeah.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Water Cooler Talks with your hosts, Nick Frazier and Marcus Fitzpatrick. Make sure you like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so that you never miss an episode.